Good morning, good evening, wherever you are across the nation and around the globe. This is Beacon News, and I am your host, Kelly Robertson, also known as Earth Song. Now, we've spent a lot of focus lately on the comet and the eclipse and the coming events and changes, and for good reason. There is a lot of talk, a lot of chatter, a lot of fear, a lot of confusion around this subject. And I am here on a mission to unveil those truths to you that have been hidden and obscured or twisted. So, again, we will focus a little further on the details of this eclipse and the upcoming comet and who you are. Because ultimately, my goal and mission is to give you back the keys to who you are. Give you back your courage to take back your power through free will and wisdom and good, educated choices. So, I have been reminded quite often lately of the story of Jonah. Anyone who knows anything about Bible school and the stories or Sunday school lessons remembers the story of Jonah in the belly of the whale for 3 days. Now, we all bear our own cross as Jesus did, and we all have our day of reckoning with ourself as Jonah did. Interestingly enough, the correlation between Jonah and his story and this eclipse and comet are that the constellation of Jonah is 1 degree off from our planetary alignments, cosmic collaborations, and sky viewing events that are in our very near future. Interesting enough, it also will be in 1 degree of Jupiter, much like the tales that were foretold of the dragon coming toward and attacking Jupiter in the times of the tribulation. Jupiter, Jupiter, again, interestingly enough, seems to be about to give birth to a new celestial body for our solar system, much as it did with Venus in our not so terribly distant past. All facts, not conjecture, not theory, not hypothesis, but facts that can be proven. And this also will be laying with the constellation of Virgo, who will have the 7 crowns upon her head and will be in the perfect description, as in the book of Revelations, of what the mother in her birthing pangs will appear to look like in our skies before the coming of Christ. Now, my personal opinion and my mission alike align with the notion that this coming of Christ is a collective Christ consciousness. I cannot say for sure whether Jesus himself will come back in the flesh, but I can speak for sure of the fact that we will come into Christ consciousness collectively. We already are. We're already calling this the Great Awakening for that reason. Now, I would like to share a few videos with you so that you're thinking for yourself and you're seeing that I am not just trying to convince you of my point of view. I am actually showing you truly, facts, and who we are. I would like to start with showing you a couple of Bible descriptions, Bible references. I want to start with Psalms 82:1 that reads in many various ways. God presides in great assembly. He renders judgment among the gods. And we're going to cover who the gods are that this is referring to in just a moment. But also, I would like to bring your attention to Psalms 82:4. Rescue the weak and the needy. Deliver them from the hand of the wicked. God is actually speaking to us, his children, when he says that. That is our duty, to rescue the weak and the needy and deliver them from the land of the wicked. Psalms 82:5 reads that gods know nothing and they understand nothing. They walk about in darkness. All the foundations of the earth are shaken. Psalms 82:7 says, but you will die like mere mortals. You will fall like every other ruler. Psalms 82:8 reads, rise up, O God, judge the earth, for all the nations are your inheritance. Psalms 82:2 reads, how long will you defend the unjust and show partiality to the wicked? Psalms 82:3, defend the weak and the fatherless, uphold the cause of the poor and the oppressed. And most importantly, Psalms 82:6, I said, this is God speaking, you are gods, you are all sons of the Most High. God is speaking to us in all of these quotes that I've just read. God is speaking to us. What does Psalms 82:6 say? I said, you are gods. You are all sons of the Most High. And we are to rescue the weak and the needy and deliver them from the hand of the wicked. And God is viewing us as the gods that know nothing, that understand nothing, that walk about in darkness asleep. All the foundations of the earth will be shaken because of it. This is our opportunity to wake up to our full potential. This is our opportunity to truly know thyself. And this is our opportunity to truly be free. Now let's move on to the truth about the eclipse and the coming 3 days of darkness. I want you to fully understand discernment and listening to your intuition.
There has been a lot going on recently. A lot of events that keep pointing to the fact that something unexpected and life-changing is on the way. Like AT&T goes down for a day with no real explanation why. I can't remember a time when that ever happened. Then a week or two later, Facebook and Instagram go down with no real explanation as well, where they're speaking about cable lines being cut in the Red Sea. We see banks failing again exactly a year after the banking crisis started in 2023. And Bitcoin and gold keeps climbing like they are trying to signal something and get our attention. And is now becoming
Bitcoin and gold are in competition much the way that good and evil are at this time. And we are in a binary star system, like it or not, that is creating all of this interruption and confusion in our lands.
Becoming clear that as of right now, they plan to do a whole rerun of the last election, which did not go well the last time. They keep alluding to a civil war.
Hoping for, coaxing you towards, encouraging you to bite the bait and fall into the traps.
There is a lot going on. A lot of uncertainty mixed in with volatile events. A lot of things that, for people with their eyes open, it should have our attention. And the thing is that amongst all of these things, there will be an eclipse over the United States in the beginning of April that seems to be getting a lot of attention, and rightfully so.
A cosmic event for the ages, shaping up to be the hottest ticket in town. On April 8th, a total eclipse of the sun will plunge millions of viewers from daylight into darkness for more than 4 captivating minutes in parts of the country. And excitement is already building as so-called eclipse tourists rush to book travel to be in its path.
Literally, the stars are aligning.
The total eclipse will span a 115-mile wide path across 13 states from Texas to Maine.
13.
That's nearly twice as wide as the last major eclipse in 2017.
Not
And it will
unlucky.
also last twice as long. Towns and cities lucky enough to be in the path of totality have been preparing for months, if not years.
I have been getting a lot of questions about this eclipse and my take on what people have been
States have been preparing for this for years.
saying about the coming 3 days of darkness. Instead of me answering each question individually, I thought it would be prudent to make a very quick video to discuss this because I believe that it's important. I must be very clear and honest that although I have heard about the eclipse and many people have been sending me information about the 3 days of darkness, I have actually not given very much attention to it until recently. I know that people have made all these predictions and there are many different insights. But here's the thing. In reference to the eclipse on April 8th, yes, I do believe that it is a sign. I do not believe it is a coincidence that when you combine this eclipse with the one that happened in 2017, 7 years ago, it makes an X. I do believe that our Father Yahuwah is giving us clear signals that he is going to move. We know the scriptures like, and it shall come to pass in that day, says Yahuwah Elohim, that I will make the sun go down at noon, and I will darken the earth in broad daylight. That's Amos chapter 8, verse 9. Also, and it shall come to pass afterward that I will pour out my spirit on all flesh. Your sons and your daughters shall prophesy. Your men shall dream dreams. Your young men shall see visions. And also on my men servants and on my maid servants I will pour out my spirit in those days. And I will show wonders in the heavens and in the earth, blood and fire and pillars of smoke. The sun shall be turned into darkness and the moon into blood before the coming of the great and awesome day of Yahuwah. And it shall come to pass that whoever calls on the name of Yahuwah shall be saved. For in Mount Zion and in Jerusalem there shall be deliverance. As Yahuwah has said, among the remnant whom Yahuwah calls. That's Joel chapter 2, verses 28 through 32. And also,
And we are the remnant. We are the meek that shall inherit the earth. So do not listen to people who tell you that this rapture is coming and that it's going to take all of God's people and leave behind the sinners. Because let me ask you, how do you reckon with that? How do you wrestle with that and write that in your mind if that's what you truly believe and all of this stuff changes and comes to pass and you're still here? And you're not still here because you're a sinner. You're not still here because God didn't want you or think you were worthy. You're still here because they twisted that story. Much like my 90-year-old mother who just passed away before Thanksgiving last year. For 6 months, was convinced that she was going to die, like immediately. because of what hospice people had told her. And she would consistently ask me, why am I not dead yet? Why doesn't God love me enough to just take me? Because she really had it in her head she should be dying because hospice told her so. So she was questioning her faith. She's the one that taught me faith. But she questioned her faith. She wrestled with that in her mind. And as I witnessed that, I wondered, how will all of you wrestle with that and reckon with it, that believe that you will be plucked up and taken very soon, rather than have to see any of this play out before your eyes, when it says very clearly in that most beautiful Bible, in Revelations, that you are to stand firmly in your faith and foundation, regardless of what you see play out before you. Walk in your faith. It's time to put on your armor of God and ready yourself and put these dogmas and indoctrinations, Mercury retrogrades got me, indoctrinations aside. Think for yourself. God gave you free will and a brain for a reason. Think for yourself and your soul's sake and the sake of your children's souls. Think for yourself.
We know Messiah has said, and there will be signs in the sun, in the moon, and in the stars, and on the earth distress of nations, with perplexity, the sea and waves roaring. Luke chapter 21, verse 25. So yes, when I hear about the eclipse, I recognize that our Father is getting our attention. He has been doing so for a long time with many different
Trying to
signs
wake
that
us
he has
up.
been showing us. So when I hear about the eclipse coming, it just confirms to me what I have already felt. And I'll get back to it. In reference to the coming 3 days of darkness, I will be clear that this is not what I focus on at all.
Nor do
I don't
I.
know where this prophecy actually comes from. Now be clear, I know there is a biblical precedent for this.
Other than the reference to Jonah in the belly of the whale for 3 days, or Jesus being in the tomb for 3 days, that 3 days of contemplation, that 3 days of becoming completely whole and right with yourself and walking in your God self, your God's energy, your God power that was God given.
As this is what our father did in Egypt when he was petitioning Pharaoh to let Israel go. This was the 9th plague. Then Yahweh said to Moses, stretch out your hand toward heaven, that there may be darkness over the land of Egypt, darkness which may even be felt. So Moses stretched out his hand toward heaven, and there was thick darkness in all the land of Egypt 3 days. Exodus chapter 10, verses 21 and 22. But me personally, I believe our Father has prophesied how all this would occur in Revelation chapter 8 during the 4th trumpet. It said, then the 4th angel sounded, and a third of the sun was struck, a third of the moon, and a third of the stars, so that a third of them were darkened. A third of the day did not shine, and likewise the night. Revelation chapter 8, verse 12. So I want to be clear in regards to this ministry. As far as the 3 days of darkness prophecy goes, I don't know where it comes from, but it is not what I am focusing on. As far as I can tell, this 3 days of darkness is a Catholic prophecy. In the 18th century, an Italian mystic is said to have stated, this is the prophecy, there shall come over the whole earth an intense darkness lasting 3 days and 3 nights. Nothing can be seen, and the air will be laden with pestilence, which will claim mainly, but not only, the enemies of religion. It will be impossible to use any man-made lighting during this darkness, except blessed candles. He who out of curiosity opens his window to look out, or leaves his home, will fall dead on the spot. During these 3 days, people should remain in their homes, pray the rosary, and beg God for mercy. All the enemies of the church, whether known or unknown, will perish over the whole earth during that universal darkness, with the exception of a few whom God will soon convert. The air shall be infected by demons who will appear under all sorts of hideous forms. I've gotten this off of Catholic.com actually. This is
Now, many of you who follow my work understand how I feel about the Catholic religion specifically, because I feel like that is where the dupe, the hijack began. Okay. Rome killed Jesus. Rome went out and conquered many nations and forced their beliefs upon them, including the Crusades, okay, which had a lot of bloodshed. Modern day Catholic Church, the the modern day Pope, the current Pope, is the white Pope and the black Pope, which is a whole lot of bad and evil. I have zero faith in the Catholic Church. Okay, the Catholic people, different story. Trying to be good shepherds. They're trying to be good followers, good students, whatever you want to call it. I don't fault the Catholic people. I fault the Catholic Church. And in the book of Revelations, it says that 2/3 of the world will be shocked that they've been worshiping the wrong God. And that all stems from the Catholic Church. The Catholic Church is the head of Christianity. Okay? Jesus wasn't trying to create a religion. He wasn't. He was trying to create free people. There's a difference. So if you want to look for a devil, you want to look for an antichrist. That's the direction you look.
This is a prophecy from Catholics, and I do not follow any of the doctrines or their prophecies. There is real danger of following false prophets, and then when Satan actually works his magic and fulfills these things, we believe that it is actually biblical prophecy, and we start following our enemy. You have to be really clear on where you get these prophecies from. So for me personally, I am not following the 3 days of darkness prophecy. That's not something that I'm focused on.
Nor will I.
But here's the deal, and this
Because
is
it's
what I
full
want
of
to be
fear
clear, and this is
and
why I made
control.
this video. Maybe this eclipse means something for April 8th. Maybe what people are prophesying of with this 3 days of darkness actually comes to pass, but also maybe not. A long time ago, I learned not to set dates or trust those who do this as well. You need to understand the world that you're in. Too many people today make content to get attention on social media.
Agreed.
Too many people like to speak on things that our Father clearly has not actually told them.
Agreed.
There is way too much noise on social media.
Agreed.
Me personally, I try not to listen to most of it, and I honestly encourage you to do the same for your own sanity.
Agreed.
Regardless if these things come to pass or not, please know, for the longest, I have encouraged everyone to be ready and prepared for change that's coming in this world.
Agreed.
Be ready first spiritually, then mentally, and last physically.
100%.
If you took that advice, then these kind of things should not move you.
That's
You
right.
may want to disagree with me about the 3 days of darkness, and that's your choice. But here's the reality for me and my family. Even if people are right about the 3 days of darkness, my family and I, we're ready. If they're not right about the 3 days of darkness, my family and I, we're still ready.
Are ready.
None of these predictions move us because we are ready either way.
That's
And
right.
I encourage you all to be as well.
And that's what I want
Last
for
week,
you.
I put out the video about the actual promises our Father has for us. This is what I am focused on. And yes, I look at these eclipses and all that as signs because he did prophesy that this is what he would do.
Yep.
He has been warning us for a great deal of time. I remember all the blood moons that were happening not that long ago. There seems to be many eclipses that have been happening. Yahuwah has my attention. So no, I'm not paying much attention to everything that people are saying in reference to the eclipse and the 3 days of darkness because I'm ready. I'm waiting for him. If you believe something is happening at this time in April, or you don't, it should not change your approach to the times that we're in. Because let's be clear, judgment is coming to the nations. The Antichrist is coming and preparing to take power. I mean, right now he's being spoken about more and more, and they have already come out with
Isn't
news
he
that's
already
preparing
here?
us for his rise and
You believe
ascension.
in that?
Expect problems to come. Expect change. This should be a mindset for all believers who are waiting for our Father's kingdom. His day will not come upon us unexpectedly because we are awake. I just don't believe that we need to worry about dates and planning in this way. I would actually stop looking into these things and trying to understand exactly what is going to happen and when it's going to happen. Do not live your life like this. If you know this world is set to change, then just live in proper expectation and live in peace and enjoy. When you focus on it like this, these things can bring about anxiety and fear.
Live every day with joy, happiness, and gratitude. And don't focus on negative. Don't focus on what if or what could. Walk in your faith daily and know that all is well and you are exactly where you are meant to be.
Whatever is coming to this world is for the wicked nations who have lived in idolatry and rebellion. Judgment is for those who have been living for themselves only, not caring about our Father and His Word. Judgment is coming to the world, and make no doubt about it. But listen, if you're truly living for our Father, then you should not worry about this.
That's right.
We know He's coming. We know He has plans to gather us. All we need to do is be patient and be faithful.
Patient and faithful, righteous in the Lord, in Christ consciousness. So, if you're not lying, cheating, stealing, begging, borrowing, deceiving, manipulating, gaslighting, whatever, swindling, if you're not doing those things, then you're good. And you don't need to fear this eclipse. And you don't need to fear the comet. Just pay attention to the signs and be aware, be awake. That's what God wants for us to be aware and awake. That's why there's so many star children here right now, to help usher this in a graceful, beautiful way, without the fear porn, without the control factor, without the matrix complex, the limitations. The meek inherit the earth. Walk in that faith. It shall all come to pass in divine timing as it's planned to do. Walk in your faith. No fear. Be strong in yourself and be strong in the Lord.
I've made a lot of content over the years to try to drill the point home that we are in the last days and change is on the horizon. I think I have made that point clear. Please, I ask that you do not expect me to speak about everything they're putting in your algorithms. Honestly, I am not focused on most of these things, and I am not thinking about this eclipse and this 3 days of darkness because Yah has my attention already. If he's giving more signs, I know that he's just coming closer. Now, I want to make this clear as well. I do expect there will be a time that things go dark. In America especially, I expect the lights to go out. I expect the internet to be cut off. I expect civil war. I expect chaos. These have been my expectations for a long time. I've been planning for it for years, and this has not changed. This is the reality of the world that we live in.
It's the reality of the world he lives in. And this is where this gets very, very important, and why I keep drilling this home to you. Your thoughts, your opinions, your plans, your assumptions, your expectations create this world or matrix that we are in. It creates the experience that you will have. Do you expect Bitcoin and civil unrest and upheavals of all sorts and calamities and cataclysms? Or do you expect that life will go on in a forward movement with a nice, steady momentum of improvement for all of us in the medical fields, in our environmental fields, in our educational fields, in our enlightenment fields, and our spiritual growth, and our understanding and knowing of thyself, and coming back to God, coming back to Christ consciousness, and creating a beautiful world? Because that's what we can do. That's how powerful we are. And we create it. Every day we create it with whatever we believe, from what we hear, read, smell, taste, feel, believe.
When it happens, I do not think it will be Yah that is doing this, but I believe that it will be according to their satanic plan and agendas. When Yahuwah is doing it, it will be with power so that we all know it was him. When he brings out the darkness,
And I don't dispute that. I don't dispute at all that God could smite us at any time to teach us a lesson, because what do we do as parents? As parents, as teachers, as counselors, whatever. There has to be a consequence. There has to be a punishment. Police officers know this. Judges know this. Lawyers know this. There has to be a consequence for your actions. If you continue to be a repeat offender over and over and over as a collective or on an individual level, you will get God's smite. Because as a good parent, you will discipline your children to make sure you're guiding them, teaching them the right way so that they can be the person they should be. It's what we all want for our kids. It's what God wants for us. So, yes, undoubtedly, if we choose not to change and learn from this, tip that balance, enough of us wanting to change and embrace who we are and walk in that, walk in our faith of Him, and that He gives us this power. And yeah, we should give Him that glory. Absolutely. We should give Him that glory. But if you're not willing to do that, there's a tipping point to everything. Which tipping point are we taking? Which side of the scales are we going to end up on as a collective, as a humanity, as an earth family?
it will be through something only he could do, which is why the fourth trumpet plague will be powerful. My advice to everyone is to not focus on all these things. If you truly know what time it is in this world, focus on Yahuwah. Focus on living more aligned to him. Focus on trusting him more. Focus on getting rid of lies and falsehoods you once held on to. How I look at it is that when things actually do change, I expect it to be something that actually catches us all off guard, something that we're not really expecting. I do not claim to know what these people have planned and what Satan plans to use as the major scapegoat for change. It could be one thing, or it could be many things. I
They have a
refuse to live
whole
my life
array
worried about
of things in their
eclipses and
arsenal
days
to
of
choose
darkness
from.
and whatever Satan is planning. I know problems are coming. My family and I are prepared for it. And I say that confidently because it's mostly spiritually and mentally. Because even if I'm away and not around these supplies, I trust in our Father to protect and to provide for us and lead us to what he has for us.
Yep.
This is how I look at it. What then shall we say to these things? If Elohim is for us, who can be against us? He who did not spare his own son, but delivered him up for us all, how shall he not with him also freely give us all things? Who shall bring a charge against Elohim's elect? It is Elohim who justifies. That's Romans chapter 8, verses 31 through 33.
And I will remind you again of Psalms 82:6 that says that we are all gods, yet we walk in darkness, not knowing who we are. Why would God say that? Unless it was true.
If Yahuwah is for us, who can be against us? This is what I believe, and this trust in Yah allows me to walk in confidence and not worry. So my recommendation to everyone is yes, as we see this coming eclipse, take it as a sign. He is getting our attention to be ready for him. So be ready for him. Be ready for change and make sure you are following him and not listening to Satan. Do not live in fear. Live in power and assurance that our Father will fulfill his promises.
Yes.
What you must do is be faithful to him. If you stay ready, you don't have to get ready. As I'm getting these questions, I'm realizing that there are things that I may need to revisit. So in the midst of other topics our Father has me covering, like when we move to the Protestant Reformation and continue with our discussion on the Renaissance, I may revisit some information that I have covered in the past so that there is a good understanding of what awaits us. But irregardless of all this, please, do not live in fear. And also, mark those who are using their platforms to spread it to you. There is nothing wrong with bringing people in awareness of things. But people that just make content to speak about false prophecies, these people need to be avoided. It's time to
Agreed.
live in strength and know truly who you serve and truly who sustains you. If you truly
And truly who you are.
know this and you live through this, you will know that no matter what is coming, you will be ready for it and you will see it through.
Amen.
Live in the confidence and assurance of Yahuwah and do not let the devil push false prophecies that drive you to fear. Be strong.
Be strong. Walk in your faith. And this is a perfect opportunity for me to share with you and remind you of how and what it means to put on your armor of God. Ephesians 6:10 reads, "Finally be strong in the Lord in his mighty power, and put on the full armor of God, so that you can take your stand against the devil's schemes. For our struggle is not against flesh and blood, but against the rulers, against the authorities, against the powers of this dark world, and against the spiritual forces of evil in the heavenly realms. Therefore, put on the full armor of God, so that when the day of evil comes, you may be able to stand your ground. And after you have done everything to stand, you stand firm then, with the belt of truth buckled around your waist, and the breastplate of righteousness in its place, and with your feet fitted with the readiness that comes from the gospel of peace. In addition to all of this, take up the shield of faith, with which you can extinguish all the flaming arrows of the evil one. Take the helmet of salvation and the sword of the Spirit, which is the Word of God." I'll remind you again, what is the Word of God? God said to you, you are God's. You are all sons of the Most High. But they took that and stuffed it under a bench somewhere and retold the story differently, didn't they? To strip you of your power, to strip you of your truths, to strip you of your truest possible connection with God. Now, I want to share with you a video of a man who studies near-death experiences and is going to reveal mankind's huge shift.
Of self-destruction. But thanks to a lot of help from above, and I'm not just talking about heaven, but also very advanced, highly spiritual extraterrestrials who have been working with us, as well as, all of heaven, we avoid.
Now, I'm just going to interrupt him briefly right there, because this actually brings up a good point. There have been a multitude of alien sightings, UFO sightings all over the internet. A plethora of videos of video footage capturing multitudes, fleets of UFOs recently. Fleets of them. And yes, I know a lot of you are worried about the whole Project Bluebeam thing. Put that aside, because what if that is a psyop? What if that is a psyop? So that you don't think far enough outside the box. Similarly to the way all of the National Guard being positioned, several like anonymous and such are suggesting that this is a preparation to thwart off any type of attacks from certain groups, right? I want to be careful with my words. Which, could be. But if you just look that far, then you don't look further to the binary star. You don't look further to the signs in the heavens from God. You don't look further to see exactly who you are, right? Similarly with the aliens and the UFO sightings and stuff, and it's almost like a smoke screen. Look here, but don't look beyond that there. Why are all the alien UFO crafts here now, all of a sudden? Why would they have such an uptick that this is the largest wave of UFO sightings we've ever had in recorded history? I can tell you why. Because they're here watching us. We have free will. We were given free will. And perhaps that's why Earth is the quote unquote experiment planet that the military has claimed through people like Linda Moulton Howe and others that they've, went and done their whistleblowing stuff to. They all say that we're an experimental planet, that we're like a zoo of experiments, right? Because now we've got several aliens' hands in the pot, mixing and matching the DNAs and dabbling here and dabbling there and trying to influence, trying to thwart this and keep us from awakening and all those things, all this busyness is happening. But if you go all the way back, even in biblical days, when the Virgin Mary was visited by two angels who came in a celestial heavenly craft from the sky, right? Flew down from the sky, visited her, told her, "You're going to have Jesus. This and this and this is going to happen." And she magically, miraculously was impregnated. Modern day speak, that's artificial insemination, which we personally here, humans on Earth, did not even know how to do until after people that were abductees or experiencers were claiming that they had been artificially inseminated. We weren't doing that here yet, but aliens already were. Now, I'm not saying Jesus is an alien, but maybe he is. And maybe that's not a bad thing, okay? Because my own personal experience, knowledge, wisdom that I've came here with is that I'm part of the Pleiadian star system. I'm part of a family from the star system called Taygeta, specifically. And they've been here to visit me. They've been here to help guide me throughout my entire life. They have a very strong investment in humanity. They want to see us succeed. The whole point of the star seeds being here right now is to make sure this awakening actually happens against the odds of the nefarious or the evil or the dark side or however you want to look at that, right? So this uptick in UFOs, this uptick in aliens being here, visiting our planet, is probably like partial investment, partial spectator show, right? Because we have free will. So they're watching us to see which way we go, which side of the scales we tip. Because Hopi prophecy, Mayan prophecy, Sumerian prophecy, Enoch's prophecies, all tell Edgar Casey's prophecies, Thoth, many, 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 many have prophesied, Nostradamus, that there are two timelines, two choices, two roads, and which one do we choose? Even the Looking Glass, right? The Project Looking Glass, Project Yellow Book, the Cube, all of them show the same outcome, same scenario of two timelines, two odds of probability that could happen because free will decides. And that's not written in stone. We change that from minute to minute, second to second. Those odds of probability go up and down all the time, collectively. They're here watching. to see which way we go. They cannot interfere with free will. That's a law. They gave us free will. We birth our children, and they have free will. I can tell my child, don't go outside in 35-degree weather without a jacket on and some shoes. You'll get sick. What's my child going to do? Sometimes they're going to listen. Sometimes they're going to walk out the door with no jacket on, no shoes on, in 35-degree weather. And lo and behold, they're going to get sick. Because free will allows them the option to rebel. It allows them the option to choose for their self, to decide for their self. We have free will. They can put all kinds of things out in front of us. It's up to us what we do with it. It always has been, it always will be. So the uptick in UFOs, the uptick in aliens, they're watching to see which way we choose to go. Now, on with the video.
Avoided self-destruction. So now we are on an irreversible path to become an ascended society. Hi, my name is David Such. I am a board member of the Near-Death Institute, and I have been researching near-death experiences for the last 16 years. Over that time, I've heard around 1,200 near-death experiences. Basic overview of the near-death experience is it's much like waking up from a dream. The Egyptian prayer of resurrection says, death is but a doorway to new life. We live today, we shall live again. In many forms shall we return. And that's pretty much true. That's a 3,000-year-old writing. And just as a human being enjoys experiencing a different reality by watching a good movie or reading a good book, souls enjoy leaving their comfort of the joy and love of heaven to come down here and have an earthly experience for the purposes of growth and learning. Now, probably the most interesting thing that near-death experiences have brought me is that there is no judgment. So I was taught as a Christian that earth
And
is a
that's
pass-fail
something that
test.
most people
And
don't
God
like to
loves
hear.
you, but if you break his rules or you happen to pick the wrong religion, well, he's going to burn you in hell forever. Well, nothing could be further from the truth. Every soul goes back home to heaven.
Yep.
And it doesn't matter how we live our lives here on earth, good or bad. Doesn't matter how badly we've behaved. We are still welcomed home with open arms, and we are still showered with love. There isn't a single thing that any human being could possibly do to make heaven love us one bit less. They adore us that much. Their unconditional love is so strong and so powerful that even the phrase unconditional love is completely inadequate to describe it. You know, in these interviews I do with these people, they talk about it like it's the best thing that's ever happened to them. You know, it's the all, it's the everything of life is to experience that love. And they get to it and they just can't describe it. And even a battle-hardened soldier, when they're talking about the beauty of heaven, will sometimes cry. And so just that love to know that no matter what happens here on earth, we're going back home. That's probably the most beautiful part of the experience that I've learned in these 16 years. Well, that's actually a quite common question. You know, if heaven is so great, well, what are we doing down here in this place where we're suffering? And it's kind of interesting the attitude in heaven they have, because we don't have to come down here and have physical incarnations, but we do it for the advancement of consciousness. Now, it turns out that consciousness learns and grows through contrast. And I've heard this from heaven. If there wasn't a small part of creation experiencing the opposite of the unconditional love and beauty of our heavenly home, the love of heaven, that bubble of love, could not exist and grow. So our job down here is very important. And yes, souls will do pre-soul planning and they will take on various challenges. Oh, I want to be a child in a difficult, abusive home. Or I want to have this physical disability. And one near-death experiencer, I recall this guy very clearly. He was 35 years old when he died. He had a respiratory condition because he had this disease, and I can't remember what it was, but he was wheelchair bound since his youth. and he struggled his whole life with these health problems. And at 35, he had an incident and he died, and he got to heaven and he said, I don't understand. He's talking to God. He says, I don't understand why I was punished. I mean, I've been such a good Christian my whole life. I've always tried to show love to other people, do unto others, and I've been kind and gentle and forgiving. Why was I punished? And they said, don't you remember? Well, let us show you. And they bring him to this classroom where souls are preparing to come down and incarnate onto earth. And the instructor is explaining there are two ways to do things: slowly over time, which is more comfortable, or you can do it quickly, but there's going to be pain and suffering.
Mm-hmm.
Of the 1,200 testimonies I've heard, a very small percentage are shown future events. And it's important to note that whenever we talk about the future, it's only the potential future, because humanity has free will.
Odds of probability.
Now, past was we were going to destroy ourselves. So, Mother Shipton, Nostradamus, Revelation in the Bible, those were accurate predictions of where we were headed. We were headed on a path of self-destruction. But thanks to a lot of help from above, and I'm not just talking about heaven, but also very advanced, highly spiritual extraterrestrials who have been working with us, as well as, all of heaven, we avoided self-destruction. So now we are on an irreversible path to become an ascended society. And how fast that happens is going to be up to the free will of humanity. But the potentials for today, it looks like we're going to have about another 50 years before we get peace on earth. So there's going to be some more wars, probably some major ones. And we're going to have some more chaos. Anytime there's fast change, there's chaos. And in about 150 years, this new world of love will be here. And it will be
And let me just, sideline in there and say, don't take his quotes for the years and the length of time for written in stone, because we can always alter that. We can always make that happen much sooner. He's just saying that what he was shown in that time frame, based on where our collective consciousness was at, that's the outlook. That's the forecast, if you will, right? Those odds of probability change all the time. They can increase or they can decrease. And I feel like we're on the trajectory of decreasing this down at this time.
a world where there's no war, where we all get along. I mean, we're going to have our differences, but we'll be like a family that loves each other. The brothers and sisters may have arguments and disagreements, but they're not going to pick up guns and knives and start killing each other.
Or
And
throwing
we are going to be
accusations.
living in harmony with each other and with nature. We are going to learn how to communicate with plants and animals, and we're going to learn a great deal from them. They will become our allies and our friends. And today we're kind of abusing nature.
Yes.
And we're not realizing that we're part of nature. And that's going to be a realization of the new world of love. And the entire society will be focused on teaching children about God, love, science, nature, the beauty of the natural world, and all these things. We'll have high technology, but many of the cultures will seem, at least looking at it from our perspective, to be primitive, because we will discover that biology is the best technology. So we will be able to heal people. There won't be a need for doctors. The community gets around the sick person, and by the power of thought and prayer and intention, you heal the person. Now, we have that ability now, we just haven't developed it. So this new world is going to look very, very different. And it's going to be a world
Hallelujah.
where we cooperate. I mean, right now we are suffering the consequences of cutthroat competition. And there's a new paradigm that we haven't woken up to yet. And that paradigm is this: with our technology, the way we're speaking right now, with our amazing communication skills, smartphones, with our mass manufacturing and all these wonderful advances that we have, there is enough for everybody. We don't have to fight each other for resources. What we have to do is cooperate.
Right.
And we're just beginning to learn to cooperate with each other. And cooperation is so much more powerful than cutthroat competition. And I'll give you a little example of this. So Apple and Samsung, they've been suing each other for years. What would happen if they said to each other, you know what? We're still going to make our own products. They'll still be different and unique, but we're going to share all of our technology with each other. And whatever you want to use that we're doing, you go ahead and use it. And even if you want to borrow some employees to help you out, we'll lend each other employees. Well, how much better would both phones be?
Right.
We can learn a lot by beginning to cooperate with each other, and that's what's happening. That's what's coming, and we're seeing the beginnings of it today. We're even seeing the end of the old corporate structure, the pyramid. One guy at the top giving orders to the managers, and they give orders to the workers, and you must obey. What's going to happen in the future? Corporations and governments are going to be run by the people. Co-ops, cooperative businesses. I mean, there's a business, I think, in France or somewhere there in Europe that they're in the Fortune 100 and they're a co-op. And we're seeing more and more co-ops popping up, and that's going to be the future. There are times where there's a great leap in consciousness. It happened in the 1960s with the movement of the original hippies. I'm not talking about the mainstream hippie movement. I'm talking about the original flower children. They were the first to bring in ideas of things like, it's okay to have an interracial couple, and hey, we need to recycle and live in harmony with nature, and we need to have love for everyone. They brought these very high spiritual ideals in, and society wasn't ready. But they grew up, they integrated back into society, and what happened? They brought their ideas into society. So, I mean, when I was a child, 50 years ago, you want organic food? Oh, well, go to the edge of the town. There's a tiny little store the size of a large closet, and
Right.
they got some organic food there. Now Walmart's got an organic section. You get organic food everywhere, and there's recycle bins everywhere, and
Yep.
people care about the environment, and we're starting to wake up. And so there could be some big steps forward, in this coming year. But growing up is a long process. You don't go from being a 2-year-old child to being a 25-year-old productive adult overnight.
Mm-hmm.
It takes a long time, and it takes a lot of maturing and a lot of mistakes and a lot of trial and error. And so it is going to be a long process.
Sometimes a lot of
Cryon,
lives.
channeled by Lee Carroll, when he talks about this change, and we're in it now. We're just like the 2-year-olds that are learning that first learning not to fight each other in the sandbox. He says, get used to the acronym SUCK. Slow, uncomfortable change, So yes, there's going to be some difficult times, but that doesn't mean that any individual has to go through that. Remember that you are the creator of your own destiny.
Boom.
And if you say, during these difficult times, during these chaotic changes, we may see chaos in the streets. We may see financial markets in turmoil. We may see more health crises. We may see, people marching through the streets and burning down stores. But you know what? I am going to be surrounded by peace and safety and joy, and I am going to have abundance during this
That's
time,
it right
and
there.
I'm going to have a happy, fulfilling life. And if you really believe that, if you really hold on to that emotion, that's exactly what's going to happen.
Yes.
You can create
Yes.
a bubble of peace and sanity in the middle of a crazy world.
Yes.
Everybody has the power to do that.
We do.
Well, a lot of people think in this new world of love, religion's going to disappear, but it's not.
No.
Religions are going to change. So, over 500 years ago, the Catholic Church was selling indulgences. Pay the clergy, pay us money to the church. We'll pray for your dead relative to make sure they get into heaven. Pay us money so your dead relative. That's crazy. They don't do that anymore. That's a barbaric idea. They've matured. And even when I was a child, you wouldn't have heard what I heard just recently. my wife is Catholic, so I go to Catholic church every Sunday with her. And they told the story of the prodigal son. And for those of you who aren't familiar with it, this a wealthy man had two sons. One said, Dad, give me the half of my inheritance now. I want to go out and enjoy it. He goes out and he blows the whole thing on, wine and women and partying. And he comes back poor and says, Dad, make me one of your servants because I'm starving out there. And his dad welcomes him home with open arms and says, we're going to have a party, son, because my son who was lost is back and now he's found. And you know what the Catholic priest said? The moral of that story was, he said, you see, God loves you, no matter what you do. He's not going to punish you for being bad. And that's a high spiritual concept. You would not have heard that in the Catholic Church 50 years ago. So
No, you would not have.
religions are going to mature and people are going to mature. They're going to honor the cultural and religious beliefs of others. And instead of fighting each other over who's right and who's wrong, we're going to celebrate the commonalities in religion. How many of
Yes.
the world's major religions believe in the same things?
They all have
Brotherly love,
foundational
charity
roots.
for the impoverished, gentleness, kindness, self-control, forgiveness. A lot of these religions, their core beliefs are very common. And
Yep.
so I think we're going to see in the new world of love, religion will be there. It'll change and adapt to our new understanding of God and spirituality, and they will learn to get along and celebrate the different ways that religions and cultures honor God and connect with God.
As we should.
There's a saying that magicians say.
As we should. Because we should honor and respect the differences in one another and truly coexist. That's why that's my headline on my Facebook group, my Facebook page. Coexist. We have to be able to come together, meet in the middle, and honor our differences rather than be conflicted or confrontational or competitive with those differences. We all have a piece of the puzzle. And it's time we come together collectively and allow everyone to offer their piece so that we can see the whole picture.
They say when they do their trick, abracadabra, right? Now, abracadabra is old Aramaic, and it means I will create as I speak.
Boom.
And one of the things I've heard over and over again in near-death experiences is people come back and say, I had no idea how powerful my thoughts and words are. Had I known how powerful my thoughts and words are, I would have directed them to more positive thoughts and more positive words. So our words and thoughts have power.
I cannot
And
emphasize
certainly
this enough.
human beings with
That's
the
your
power of
key.
intention have the ability to create. I'm not
That
talking about
is your key.
magic here or, esoterical spiritual stuff. There is a field of quantum energy. And when a human being,
And God says, zero doubt. Walk in that faith. Walk in that knowing that that is your key. That your thoughts, your belief, your words are the power that creates all the time, for good or bad.
believes something and holds on to the emotion of that belief, they really believe it in their heart, the quantum field reacts and things start moving in place to make that happen.
Ding, 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 ding.
It's almost like, a conductor, with the symphony. He moves the sticks and the symphony plays according to how he moves his stick.
Yep.
And we're going to start realizing that that's how things work down here. Now, we're kind of already aware of it. You'll see like a person who's always afraid of getting sick, a hypochondriac say, oh, I'm worried about this and that. And what happens? They get sick all the time because that's their belief. The belief in being a victim.
Where
Well,
focus
that's a
goes,
horrible
energy flows
problem in our
and
culture
creates.
is victim culture. Because if you believe you're a victim, you're
Then
going to
you are.
energetically make that happen. You're going to attract situations that make
You
you a
believe
victim.
you're not worthy.
So as we
Then you are.
realize that our thoughts and intentions have power, that's going to change the way we do things. And quantum physicists are already aware of this. They know that when they do an experiment, a quantum experiment, their expectation of the outcome will affect the experiment. So they have to
Odds
leave
of
the building
probability.
and separate themselves physically for the time the experiment is happening. Otherwise, their expectation of the outcome affects it. They know that human intention affects reality. And we're going to learn that more and more. And for instance, humanity right now is working on 0-point energy, a very clean, free energy. There's enough energy in 1 cubic foot of space to run the United States for a year with quantum
Tesla
0-point energy.
369.
And they're working on this problem right now. And what the scientists don't get is to make that happen, it requires the human intention.
Mm.
And so it's going to be a big learning experience for us, but we're waking up to that now. There's even whole books about it called, I'm trying to remember the name of it, about manifesting. I think it was written by Abraham Hicks, but it's about manifesting. And it's about, you set your thoughts and intentions, and that's what creates reality. People are becoming aware of it, sure. As our vibration raises, we will learn how to direct energy to heal others by the power of thought and intention. And we will learn to direct it. We will learn to communicate with our cellular structure, talking to the body and directing the cells to heal in certain ways, but we're not good at communicating with our own bodies yet. I mean, often, somebody will have something, a disease or something, and until they go to the doctor, they don't even know it. And as our vibration raises and we become more aware of this and we become more connected to our bodies, we will be able to begin to communicate with the cellular structure and
You just have to
give it
tune
instructions
back
on what to
in.
do.
It's
We'll
easy.
also realize that sound and frequencies have healing abilities. So one of the things our scientists are working on now is certain frequency sounds to break up the sheaths around the nerve structures that cause Alzheimer's. So they're working on this now. They're aware of it, but that's going to continue to accelerate. And we
As well as cancer treatments with sound therapy that are using 10,000 hertz or higher to blast the T cells. Yeah, revolutionary things are happening in sound therapy, vibrational scalar wave therapy.
will get very good with medicine. So what's going to go away is pharmaceutical or medical based medicine. So today, somebody has a problem and we give them a medication, a pharmaceutical. Well, the pharmaceutical companies are knowingly keeping people sick
They
for
are,
profit.
and they're fixing to go
And
bye
whenever you
bye.
give somebody a chemical in their body, what happens? It may help, but there's a side effect.
Then you have to
And
take another
sometimes they even give you
something.
another drug to cover the side effect. Well, there's
Like we're in
only
sync with
so
one
much you
another.
can do with chemical-based medicine. And we're going to learn about frequency-based medicine, energy-based medicine, intention-based medicine, plant-based medicine. I have a friend who got to
Let's
communicate.
just go back to placebo medicine and how the thought that the pill you're taking is going to heal you actually does heal you, even though it was just a sugar pill, because thought is powerful.
Communication from a spiritual being about making natural medicines. And so we're going to
Which I also teach how to
recover
do.
some of the lost wisdom that ancient cultures had with natural medicines. We're not going to be saved by passing the perfect set of laws or electing a good leader or pointing out the bad guys, as I've mentioned before. It comes down to one act of love and kindness at a time. And it causes this thing called the ripple effect. So if I go out and I'm particularly mean to somebody, I put them in a bad mood, and they go out and they're mean to the people around them, and that puts them in a worse mood. Well, the opposite is true. You do something kind for a stranger, even if it's something like, passing by somebody and smiling and saying good morning, or holding the door open for somebody, just something small like that, or helping out a stranded
Simple acts
motorist,
of kindness.
or helping your neighbor who's struggling to, your elderly neighbor is struggling to mow the lawn, and you go over and do that for them. Those little acts of kindness make us better, more loving people, and then it spreads out. And some near-death experiencers have seen this to 35 iterations. Like, I do something nice to this guy, that's one. He goes out and he's nice to other people, that's two. 35 times.
35 ripples.
The ripple effect is what's
Mhm.
going to change the world. It'll be changed by one act of love at a time.
I love it.
All right, so
Perfect place to end this video, and I will share the link to all of these videos. If you're still with me, thank you very much for sticking around. I have one more really beautiful short message to share with you. So that I can leave you with the seed of thought to ponder about who you really are and what you really can do.
Existence. Perhaps you've sensed a stirring within, a whisper from the cosmos urging you to delve deeper into the mysteries of your soul. What if I told you that your essence transcends the boundaries of the physical realm? What if the truth of your being far surpasses the limitations of earthly perception? Join me on a journey of self-discovery as we explore the profound teachings of Dolores Cannon, a beacon of wisdom in the realm of spiritual awakening. In the vast expanse of the universe, amidst the chaos of existence, Dolores Cannon's teachings serve as a guiding light, illuminating the path to self-realization and spiritual enlightenment. Through her profound insights derived from sacred scriptures and her extensive exploration of the metaphysical, she invites us to embark on a journey of introspection and reflection. Her words resonate with a profound truth that echoes deep within our souls, stirring a longing for deeper understanding and connection with the divine essence within. In the tapestry of existence, Dolores Cannon's illuminating insights beckon us to reconsider our place in the universe. Drawing from sacred scriptures and her profound exploration of the metaphysical, Cannon unveils a truth that resonates at the core of our being. We are not mere mortals traversing the trials of life, but divine beings intricately woven into the fabric of the cosmos. The ancient declaration from the Book of Psalms rings true. You are God's, you are all children of the Most High. With these words, Cannon invites us to embrace our godlike nature, recognizing the heavenly qualities that lie dormant within. As we journey deeper into the essence of our being, we uncover the divine spark that resides within each of us. It is a spark that ignites the flames of creativity, wisdom, and unconditional love, infusing every aspect of our existence with the radiant glow of the divine. Dolores Cannon's teachings serve as a catalyst for this awakening, guiding us to embrace our true nature and embody the qualities that define our divine essence. Through introspection and self-reflection, we peel away the layers of societal conditioning and personal fears, unveiling the luminous being of light and love that resides within. A call to remember. Despite our divine lineage, many of us wander through life cloaked in forgetfulness, unaware of the celestial allies who walk beside us. Dolores Cannon sheds light on this existential amnesia, offering both diagnosis and remedy. She reminds us that we are never alone, surrounded by spiritual companions who await our call for guidance. Yet she challenges us to transcend the angelic realm, urging us to recognize the boundless potential that resides within our own divine essence. Your way above angels, she declares, encouraging us to embrace our innate power to commune directly with the infinite source of creation. In the depths of our being, a whisper echoes, a reminder of our divine heritage and our limitless potential. Dolores Cannon's teachings serve as a clarion call, urging us to awaken from the slumber of forgetfulness and embrace the truth of our existence. With each step on the path of self-discovery, we reclaim our power and sovereignty, recognizing ourselves as divine beings endowed with the capacity to shape our reality and transcend the limitations of earthly existence. Embodying divine qualities. To embody our divine nature is to unleash the full spectrum of our godlike qualities. Creativity, wisdom, and unconditional love are not just lofty ideals, but intrinsic aspects of our identity, waiting to be expressed in our daily lives. Dolores Cannon beckons us to awaken to these qualities, urging us to transcend the limitations of earthly existence and tap into the limitless reservoir of our divine potential. Through introspection, meditation, and the pursuit of spiritual knowledge, we peel away the layers of societal conditioning to rediscover the radiant spark of divinity that resides within. In the tapestry of existence, each thread is imbued with the essence of the divine, weaving a masterpiece of infinite potential and possibility. Dolores Cannon's teachings serve as a guiding light, illuminating the path to self-realization and spiritual enlightenment. As we embody the divine qualities of creativity, wisdom, and unconditional love, we become co-creators of our reality, shaping a world imbued with the light of our divine essence. Reimagining the spiritual hierarchy. In the labyrinth of spiritual beliefs, angels and guides are often envisioned as beings of higher realms, existing above humanity in a hierarchical order. Yet, Dolores Cannon offers a revolutionary perspective, challenging the conventional notion of spiritual hierarchy. She dares us to consider that humans are not subservient to angels, but stand alongside them as equals, endowed with extraordinary potential and divine essence. This paradigm shift invites us to embrace our sovereignty as spiritual beings, forging a direct connection with the divine and embracing our role as conscious creators of our reality. In the tapestry of existence, the boundaries between the celestial and the terrestrial blur, revealing a profound interconnectedness that transcends hierarchical structures. Dolores Cannon's teachings serve as a beacon of illumination, guiding us to reimagine our place in the cosmos. As we recognize ourselves as divine beings, we stand shoulder to shoulder with angels and guides, united in our pursuit of spiritual evolution and self-realization. Collaboration with celestial allies. While angels and guides offer unwavering support on our earthly journey, Dolores Cannon reminds us that their assistance is governed by the law of free will. They stand ready to guide and protect us, but their intervention is contingent upon our invitation and consent. This nuanced understanding of the relationship between humans and celestial beings underscores the importance of conscious collaboration. Our spiritual journey is not a solitary endeavor, but a partnership rooted in mutual respect and empowerment. In the dance of existence, we are accompanied by celestial allies who walk beside us, guiding us on our journey of self-discovery and spiritual evolution. Dolores Cannon's teachings serve as a reminder of the profound interconnectedness that binds us to the celestial realms. As we embrace our divine heritage and acknowledge the supportive presence of angels and guides, we step into our power as conscious creators, shaping our reality in harmony with the divine will. Empowerment through connection. As we navigate the complexities of existence, Dolores Cannon's teachings serve as a beacon of empowerment, guiding us to embrace our divine heritage and awaken to our true potential. By recognizing our place way above angels and understanding the supportive yet limited role of our celestial companions, we step into our power as conscious creators. Through meditation, mindfulness, and a deepened connection with our divine essence, we unlock the gateway to boundless wisdom, love, and creativity. In the depths of our being, we discover a reservoir of infinite potential and possibility, waiting to be unleashed. Dolores Cannon's teachings serve as a catalyst for this awakening, guiding us to tap into the wellspring of our divine essence and embrace our role as co-creators of our reality. As we cultivate a deeper connection with our inner divinity and collaborate with our celestial allies, we unlock the full spectrum of our creative potential and shape a world imbued with the light of our divine essence. Conclusion: a journey of transformation. In the grand tapestry of existence, each of us plays a vital role in the unfolding drama of creation. Our journey of self-discovery is a sacred odyssey, leading us to the realization of our full potential as divine beings having a human experience. Let us embark on this journey with courage, compassion, and a deep sense of purpose, knowing that every step brings us closer to the realization of our true essence. Thank you for joining us on this transformative voyage, and may your path be illuminated by the light of your divine spark.
Now, I will leave it on that note with a closing comment of we are all on this journey together. And the name of the game truly is free will. I am the beacon that can help guide you home to self. And for this evening, I am Kelly Robertson, also known as Earth Song Lovecraft. And this is Beacon News 777. Thank you for viewing. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for subscribing. Until next time, be well and be blessed in love and light.